and welcome to Money Matters. It's been more than a year since COVID-19 struck Hong Kong, causing widespread damage to businesses and employment. As authorities clamp down further against the virus, Zella Chin reports that despite the doom and gloom, people have managed to launch new businesses.
Shops shuttered. Outlets standing empty. The chill brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic and the fight to contain it. But a bright spot in the Wan Chai area. On a street dotted with residential and commercial buildings, a brand new hotel has opened up. 7 years ago, the chairman of the hotel group wanted to add to his portfolio. How did you end up getting this property?
So this was two residential buildings, actually, and we bought it in 2014, and 2/3 of this building, 66% of this building was the first residential property, and the other 33% was the second residential property.
Aran Haralila wants guests to feel right at home as soon as they enter the lobby.
Have a coffee, have a tea, just have a glass of wine, any time of night or day. We're surrounded by some beautiful art, and this art will rotate every few months. So every time you come in here, well, I hope you'll come more than once in 6 months, but next year you'll see some very different art in here.
And I'll come and have a coffee and...
Please, or come and have two.
The hotel opened on December 12th during the ongoing pandemic. To decrease the spread of infections, Hong Kong closed its borders to visitors in March of last year, which hurt the hospitality industry. But the chairman feels the new hotel can make use of this quiet period.
It's a good time that we open. Right in the middle of the pandemic, takes at least 3 months to really find your feet. Everybody has to get to know each other. The managers, the frontline staff, the housekeeping staff, we all have to work in unison.
Did you need to open the hotel in December? Couldn't you have waited a little bit with the more of an indication of the borders opening up?
Sure I could, but there are a couple of reasons why you shouldn't. Firstly, you're paying the bank the interest and the principal payments. If you keep a hotel closed, it just comes from your balance sheet. Whereas if you can make one positive dollar, whether it's in F&B, food and beverage, or whether it's in the rooms business, at least you have some money going towards paying your interest and your principal cost to your bank.
For hotels, the bulk of the profit comes from renting out rooms. This hotel has 210 rooms, including 3 suites. But it was a location that got Aaron excited about the future prospects of the project.
I love this location, actually. We are 8 minutes walk on the footbridge to go to the convention center. So it's incredibly convenient for all the business. So this is Central Plaza. If you look over there, you've got the waterfront. Over there, it's incredible. You can actually see the peak and all the mountains.
On a nicer day.
On a nicer day.
The idea is to attract a mix of business and leisure travelers when borders reopen. Right now, Hong Kongers book staycations. So far, the occupancy rate is 10%, and the chairman hopes it will climb to 20%, which would be on par with the rest of the industry.
The hotel sector has been badly hit. In February 2020, the average hotel occupancy rate fell to below 30%, something like 25 to 30%. But then in the second half of 2020, because a lot of hotels rolled out staycation plans and etc., that actually helped the occupancy rate to rise to around 50% by November. But 50% is still way below what they used to be, around 80-90% in a normal year.
Wu estimates Hong Kong's economy contracted by 6% for all of 2020. But despite the gloomy economy, the number of registered companies in the city grew by about 7,730 year on year.
For investors and entrepreneurs, they would think that it's a good time to actually start and and wait for the opportunity that when businesses start to come in again, say in the second half of this year, then they're in a very good position to capitalize on the economic rebound.
Tsim Sha Tsui used to be a shopping mecca for tourists. It was hit hard when Hong Kong closed its borders and the visitors disappeared. Then pharmacies and shops closed down. But nowadays, new businesses are opening up in the area.
It's our city center. A lot of Hong Kongers would come here to spend money and hang out. Of course, if Hong Kong has tourists, this place would be packed with people when it's busy. That's why we chose this place.
Or is the operations manager for the sushi restaurant that opened in mid-December. It's part of an expansion by a restaurant group from Japan. The eatery gets shipments of fresh fish 5 times a week. Mr. Orr, what's fresh today?
You can try our tuna and geoduck sashimi. It's from Japan. Actually, our Japan boss is a tuna supplier, so for tuna, we get the first-hand food stuff. And the freshest at our diner.
And the diner's hired 17 full-timers.
The chefs need to know how to cut fish, slice fish, squeeze rice, boil rice, and other things. And also, front of house, they need to know how to serve customers.
These friends are having lunch here for the first time. They go out to eat once every 2 weeks, compared with 3 times a week before. Nowadays, they're very picky about where they dine.
It must be a very spacious restaurant and like following the rules. And then the food has to be nice, has to be really fresh or like presentable. And the price has to be reasonable.
Their meal cost about $600. Currently, the government limits restaurants to 2 customers per table, 1.5 meters or partitions between tables, 50% seating capacity, and dine-in services must end by 6 p.m. Despite the social distancing restrictions, this is the 3rd eatery the Japanese company has opened in a year. It signed the lease for this branch over the summer.
The rent is cheaper, so the burden is lighter. So we thought we would try it out, because business for our first and second outlets was pretty good.
Rent for this outlet is $200,000 a month. Retail rents in Tsim Sha Tsui dropped from an average of $150 a square foot in 2019 to $94 a square foot in 2020. In Orr's 20-year career, he says the pandemic has been the worst crisis to affect the food and beverage industry. But the new sushi chain is surviving.
The previous 2 restaurants are okay. They're sustainable because the rent is cheaper and the government has subsidies. And at one time, we could open in the evenings. When we opened in the evenings, business was pretty good. This one is newly opened, so we don't know yet. We hope it gets better.
The first 2 eateries received a total of $150,000 in government subsidies. The government rolled out relief measures worth more than $310 billion to help the community during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has lasted almost a year, and despite more than 2 million global COVID-19 deaths and ongoing government restrictions, Aran Haralila thinks the future is bright.
Right now, I think the worst is behind us. Certainly the vaccine is on its way. Borders have to open in all cities and all countries, otherwise economies just will not survive. And I think everybody realizes we're going to have to live with this virus to a certain extent and balance people's welfare and livelihood.
Google threatened to make its search engine unavailable in Australia if the government went ahead with plans to make tech giants pay for news content. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison quickly hit back, saying, "We don't respond to threats." Morrison's comments came after Mel Silver, the managing director of Google Australia and New Zealand, told a Senate inquiry into the bill that the new rules would be unworkable. The mandatory code of conduct proposed by the government aims to make Google pay Australian media companies for using news content they siphon from news sites. Google says it was willing to pay a wide and diverse group of news publishers for the value they added, not under the rules as proposed. Tesla chief and billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk took to Twitter to promise a $100 million prize for development of the best technology to capture carbon dioxide emissions. Capturing planet-warming emissions is becoming a critical part of many plans to keep climate change in check. But very little progress has been made on the technology to date. Efforts are focused on cutting emissions rather than taking carbon out of the air. The International Energy Agency said last year that a sharp rise in the deployment of carbon capture technology was needed if countries are to meet net zero emissions targets.
When Money Matters returns, a stroll through Aberdeen in the Southern District. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. The Southern District takes in Big Wave Bay to the east and Pak Phalam to the west. A lot of people think the area is too posh and pricey for them. Actually, some areas offer good value and have been overlooked. Reporter Alice Khan helps search for a modestly sized flat with reasonable rent in Aberdeen and nearby Wong Chuk Hang.
Southern District is one of Hong Kong's most diverse districts, with leafy mountains, sandy beaches, and high-rise buildings. Jason Pang is living with his parents. He plans to start his own family, and he wants to rent a flat in Southern District.
Southern District is a nice area. It's good for the neighborhood, good for the environment. The air pollution is comparatively less.
His budget is below $19,000.
The economic environment is a bit tough now, as we all know that is affected by the COVID-19. My job is a commission-based, so I don't want to max out my budget.
We helped him look for a flat at a fair rent in some up-and-coming areas of Southern District. Our first stop is Aberdeen. The town is named in memory of George Hamilton Gordon, the 4th Earl of Aberdeen. In Cantonese, the name of the town is Hong Kong Zai, meaning the son of Hong Kong. Aberdeen was once a thriving fishing village. The floating fishing village, floating restaurant, and seafood stalls brought it a measure of fame. It is a mass residential area, providing over 6,000 units. Almost all private buildings here are over 30 years old. Also, many are either low-rise or standalone buildings. As most of the units are for self-use, there's only 31 flats available for rent and 124 flats available for sale.
Aberdeen mainly lower price than the other area because they not yet have the MTR line.
In terms of the rent, in terms of the affordability, Aberdeen should be one of the choices among the other districts in the Island South.
Due to the economic downturn, rents in Aberdeen dropped almost 3% over the past 12 months. The cost ranges from $33 to $38 per square foot, depending on the quality and the age of the building. We checked out a flat in this 21-year-old standalone building near the harbor. This flat is 567 square feet with 2 bedrooms. The space efficiency rate is 72%. Asking rent is $18,800 a month, or $33 per square foot. It fits Jason's budget. The apartment overlooks the Aberdeen Typhoon Shelter and the wholesale fish market. The floor-to-ceiling glass wall allows natural light to shine into the flat. The layout shape is curved, and there's a large cabinet in the living room. The landlord pulled down the wall between a small bedroom and the master bedroom to make the latter bigger.
For here, we are in the master bedroom. It was originally 2 bedrooms, but because the size is too small, then they mix a lot of cabinets to enlarge the bigger master bedroom. As you can see the curve of the bay window, so they make a tailor-made table with the storage in there.
The landlord also built a floor-to-ceiling wardrobe in the master bedroom.
The rental level is from 15,000 to 30,000 for whole Aberdeen area. The monthly asking is 18,800. If the similar quality and same size could reach 20,000. Actually, the asking is quite good for the value.
The landlord offered a lower rent to attract tenants. The building offers a clubhouse, swimming pool, and a gym for residents. It takes a 3-minute walk to a wet market and shops. As there is no MTR stop here, residents need to take a 5-minute bus ride to the Wong Chuk Hang MTR station to connect to the city center. Next stop, Wong Chuk Hang. Wong Chuk Hang is mainly a commercial and industrial area. There are only a few residential blocks here. Only 30 apartments are available for rent and 64 for sale. Over the past year, the rent has fallen almost 2%. The rent in this area ranges from $33 per square foot to $54. A flat in this 9-year-old building can fetch $75,000 a month. But we visited a cheaper flat in this 42-year-old standalone building by the harbor, yet close to the MTR station. This flat is 401 square feet, with 2 bedrooms. The monthly rent is $15,000 or $37 per square foot. As it is an old building, space efficiency is high at almost 90%. It has a nice view overlooking the Marina Club and the Jumbo Floating Restaurant, but tenants will have to enjoy the view through smallish size windows. The bedrooms, living room, and dining area are square-shaped. The previous expatriate tenant taught at an international school nearby. The flat has remained vacant for 2 months. The landlord, Mr. Chan, spent $20,000 to renovate the whole flat. He reduced the asking rent twice.
My previous asking rent was $17,000, but now I dropped down to $15,000 per month because very close to the Chinese New Year, and traditionally Hong Kong people not really like to move to other place.
Amenities-wise, it has car parks, but it doesn't have a clubhouse. Residents must travel to Aberdeen for the shops and supermarkets. After looking at 2 flats, Jason said he likes the views of both, but he prefers the older Wong Chuk Hang flat.
The rent is around 15,000. I can get a cheaper rent. I can save more money. Aberdeen, it was pretty good. It's pretty new inside, but the layout, to be honest, is not very practical. I may have a hard time to fit in some furniture there. This one is pretty good. It's very square. My old furniture can definitely fit in here.
Jason commutes to work, so proximity to the MTR is crucial.
Right here is a little bit smaller, but at the same time, it's more convenient compared to the place in Aberdeen. It's a walking distance to the Wong Chuk Hang station, and also there will be more development in Wong Chuk Hang station.
MTR said the development on top of the Wong Chuk Hang depot would provide a total of 5,200 private flats. 600 of them are expected to be launched later this year. Also, another 500,000 square foot shopping mall will come in 2023. Surveyor Chung expects rents and prices will increase in future.
Demand will be even higher. It will also bring more people to the Wong Chuk Hang area. For the expats, of course, they would prefer to live in an area which is close to their workplace. We will see more and more new office or commercial complexes will be completed in the upcoming few years. So we expect that more expats will consider to move to the Island South.
In the 2020 policy address, Carrie Lam announced a plan to reinvigorate Island South. The plan is to revamp Ocean Park, offering a wide range of entertainment and leisure activities. The Jumbo Floating Restaurant will be donated to Ocean Park to make it a cultural heritage tourist attraction. Aberdeen and Wong Chuk Hang will also get some improvements. In Aberdeen, the sea is never that far away. Residents ride sampans back and forth across the harbor. Next week, we look at Ap Lei Chau as our exploration of Southern District continues. A spa in Cairo, in Egypt, is offering a new way to unwind. Snake massage. It's well beyond a hands-on approach. The slithery masseurs undulate here and there over the clients' bodies in what the spa owner says is relaxing therapy. That's if you can avoid the hysteria. The spa is called Chill Out, opened by this charmer and man who always takes blue for an answer, who says he wanted to offer an experience that was off the scales. Customers end up with lots of those. Before starting their chill-out experience, clients have to heat up to keep the snakes awake. The spa spreads oil to heat the body because these snakes thrive in relatively high temperatures. They use two types of snake, both non-venomous. The small Abu Shwir ones, whose movements are ticklish and light on the body. And then the really scary one is the python, much larger and heavier. It squeezes on the body and the forehead to give a relaxing feeling, reduces pain and muscle tightness. The customer told local TV he gasped at first, but soon the feeling was almost like seeing snakes, but very close up. If the business is a bust, the owner says he'll try something else to make a living. Maybe a civil serpent? We suggest selling snake oil. Lights, camera, trash. Inspiration for high can come from lowly places. For one Taiwanese designer, it's recycling old wires, springs, and bolts from the power industry. Wang Li-ling, a designer who scours through dumps at the drop of a hat, says she picks up old bits of metal and wires from Taiwan's main electricity supplier to add extra shock value to her clothes. The prices for her frocks won't burn a hole in your pocket. They're all made of metal. These models don't buckle down to their task. They're welded. The local fashionistas appreciate that the new fast fashion is as tough as old boots. Taiwan's up-and-coming fashion scene also upcycles, whose designers went virtual during the pandemic to make an impact on the world stage. Waistbands will never be the same again.
That's all for tonight. Next time on Money Matters, our survey of property in the Southern District continues, plus a look at the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin in particular, its growth, usage, and where it's getting traction. See you then.